Hi everyone, Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to take a moment to share my exciting news that I am releasing 3 online courses through the Hope for Healing Academy. So more information on those coming soon, but just wanted to get the buzz out there that I will have a 1-day introductory trauma warrior class that's just going to really touch upon ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, hope, a lot of science behind the work I'm doing and that we talk about often on this show. And then a 10-day Be Your Own Hero course that's going to dive deeper into all of those subjects and healing modalities and strategies and building a coping skills toolbox. And then there's a super deep dive 30-day From Surviving to Thriving, and really working on that post traumatic growth part of the healing process. So, yeah, I'll keep you posted and share links when they're available. Hopefully, the 1 day is going to launch today or sometime in the next few days. And then I'll do a pre sale on the other 2 as those are still in development. All right, now for the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock, and very happy to have with me today Shaun Coffey. And I am going to read his bio only because we had connected through Podmatch, which I'm loving that platform. Yay, Alex. And yeah, this bio just speaks volumes about who Shaun is and what we're going to dive into today. So, Shaun is the co-author of the stigma-breaking book, Boys Do Cry, a collection of true stories by men who overcome adversity and gender conformity surrounding their mental health and emotions. He shares his life experiences in hopes that it reaches someone who needs to harness their self-worth and overcome obstacles standing in the way of their truth. He currently holds a recovery support worker certificate in the state of New Hampshire, works as a case manager for a transitional housing program for veterans experiencing homelessness. He graduated from the same program in 2014 and states helping others reach their potential when they sometimes can't see it is the most rewarding and inspiring thing to be a part of. It is this passion that led him to create talks and open up conversations and communication with audiences all over New England. He is father to a 9-year-old daughter, an ultra marathon runner, and a music enthusiast. He is a man on a mission, raising awareness and bringing to light just how amazing life can be if you're courageous enough to take that first step. Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps just reading it. So welcome, Shaun.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's just so much that we could tap on there. Again, my gosh, I still have goosebumps on my legs. I love it when that so many of us who have been through that darkness have faced it and then come out on the other side into the light, that we reach our hands back in, and thank you for doing that. I mean, just what a gift that is to others.
Yeah, it's been a pretty bumpy and crazy ride, but I think I did that bio on Podmatch just out of a whim, and it turned out like that. But the book is based on almost like societal perceptions of how men are supposed to be. So in a group of guy friends, it's like, oh, and a girl, or stop doing this, and sometimes we can't. And just from my past, I am one of those people. So, for a long time, I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, or I had like a um, explanation for that type of behavior. And it was just maybe over the past 4 years that I actually have kind of put my foot down, even with my friends. And I'm like, listen, man, like, this is who I am. And these situations make me, the way that I am. And we're continuing to hang out. So obviously there's not too much of an issue, and I've been able to actually change the perception of some of my closer male friends to be more, I guess, involved with these type of things, because it happens all the time. And a lot of guys like myself, I've had a significant amount of childhood trauma, and I go and I write, and I swallow it, and I go and I write, and I got tired of it because I was like, man, I have enough material to put out 3 books now. But at the same time, like, how do I stop this from happening? And so that's it. It just became my mission to talk about my story and kind of where I came from, and in hopes that there's people out there that feel the same, that just won't say anything because of for whatever reason. And it's eye opening. I've what is it? It's called Imposter Syndrome, where I'm like, nobody wants to hear my story. It doesn't matter. And the first talk that I ever did, I was like, whoa, I'm from this. It was horrible. I don't even know, like, my life probably seems so weird to them. And people were coming up and just saying, like, man, like, I'm going to go talk to my mom after this, or these things. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. So I mean, I love the idea that of of honoring your emotions, because when someone's walking down a street and they throw their head back and they're just laughing hysterically, it's socially acceptable. Everybody, laughter is okay. But if someone's experiencing anger, or if someone's experiencing sadness or grief, there's like this social taboo to it. I think it's getting better,
Yeah.
but it's when people like you shine that light that it's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to have these emotions and feelings.
Yeah, yeah. I have run into this multiple times where it's just somebody's perception. Like, they would rather go to somebody happy because they know that if they go to the person who has their head down and who is walking, it'll be exponentially harder. And I think a lot of those people find out when they try to have good intentions and they go talk to that person who has their head down or who's experiencing anger or something like that. Um, they often either see that person in themselves, or they don't want that negativity. And I was bred in negativity. So for me, and for others that have had childhood trauma, we kind of thrive in that environment. So I gravitate towards those people who are angry or who will look down, or you can visibly tell, something's wrong. And just a simple walking by and saying, like, hey man, you okay? How you doing? They walk away, and who knows what happens, but I know that there's a possibility that could have, altered the way that whatever they're in. Somebody who I used to work with told me, move a muscle and change a thought. And so that's literally what I've kind of lived by since I've heard that. And it's so true. Like, I'll have a situation with my daughter or with a friend, or, just self-induced, and, I can feel it. I get up and walk to the door, and you can't get up without thinking about getting up. So you've already kind of altered that. And then it's like, okay, like, why was I there and sitting in my own feelings? Couldn't, I had the hardest time even identifying my own emotions for the long time, because when I grew up, if I showed them, my situation got exponentially harder, because my dad was just not you showed emotion to, and if you did, it was almost like a treatment of that emotion. So it took me a good 2 years to say, like, I'm angry. And then, like in therapy, you'd be like, are you really angry? Or did that just startle you? And that anger was a response of getting startled. And so it's been this journey, just like, am I really aggravated, or is it something else? And now I'm able to say with, like, I'm not sure of the word, but I'm able to say, this is how I feel, and no, like, okay, this is a proper emotion. But then I do go back in my head and say, like, is this a proper emotion for this situation? And is it my perception? Because I think a lot of the time we think that things should be a certain way, and so we act that way, but we don't look at the other side of the equation. So it's been
Yeah.
really helpful to
What
see the
a
whole entire situation.
what a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah, to take a step back sometimes and say, is this really what I'm feeling? I mean, it's just a reaction. And if you just look at it from a different angle, yeah,
Yeah. You're
yeah,
able to stop those things that you say that you can never take back. You're able to regulate your own emotions. I just got into a situation a couple days ago where I was talking over somebody because I was confused and I was trying to figure it out. And they just yelled out, like, do you want me to help you? And I was like, well, I wouldn't be on the phone if I didn't need your help. I'm trying to explain something to you. And they hung up. And a couple of years ago, I would have called back and I would have been like, what? Whoa, and I was just like, man, maybe they're having a really bad day. And like, and that's okay. It's not a reflection of my phone call. I didn't do anything, that I perceived to be wrong. So in those situations previously, that would have taken a few hours, or that one situation could have altered me for a week,
Yeah.
just because I had no regulation. And so awesome to be in control and feel like, I know you want me to get mad or but I'm not going to. And I can, and smile and stuff. And it feels better than that. So I'm able to, I'm in college right now as well. And so successively I've had individual counseling, group counseling, and a learning and behavior class. So coupling that with therapy, I feel like I'm like, compared to who I was even 2 years ago, like a superhuman. Because I'm like, or I'll tell my friends when we're driving or something, did you see that? I just identified my own emotion, and I get all excited, and they're like, yeah, man, we've been doing that since we were 10. And I was like, well, not me. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I love it. Well, congrats. And I think it's just, well, and not only that you're learning it yourself, but that you're helping others figure
Yeah,
it out as
the
well.
the I've been in a substance use related position for pretty close to 6 years or 7 years, be it case managing. Through that whole period of time, I was identifying as a client almost, because I had when I chose to not use substances anymore, I didn't go the traditional route of, hey, I'm going to go to therapy and then go to a rehab and all that. I didn't even know those things existed. So to me, it was like, I feel like this is going to kill me, and I'm really, really close to it. So I need to do something to stop it. But yeah, it's really a different world when you can identify things and things go smoothly. And now I'm able to take my focus kind of off that in just my personal life. If friends, they reach out and say like, hey, how do you do this? So it's been really cool to actually be able to understand it and then utilize it.
Yeah. Now, I've not had a lot of guests come on really and address the impact of trauma and relations on veterans. I spoke to a veteran recently. He was actually helping me with something in regards to the podcast, and um, the conversation turned, came around to veterans, and he was having such an aha moment as I talked to him about the work that I do, and he said there is a huge need in the veterans, community,
Sure.
for understanding of the impact of early childhood trauma on
Hmm.
their lives, because then they're put into a situation, whether they're on the front lines or whatever it is, and suddenly they're having these, trigger reactions to things, and PTSD results and
Hmm.
CPTSD, and not realizing that those early childhood experiences. So I've heard you mention a couple of times now, your childhood experiences had an impact on you. Is that
Yeah.
something you address with veterans?
Um, I have a lot of guys that are older, a lot of them are older. So I'm like, hey, how's your childhood? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, buddy, what are you, like, you're 40 years younger than I am, or whatever the case is. I do know that in my situation, childhood trauma led to me being removed from the military. And so hindsight's 2020, I would have stayed in for my 20 years. At this very moment, I would be retired from the military. And I'd had a pension and everything would be set up, but that's just not how life works. So I, I do think that childhood trauma, addiction, mental health, all these things play a huge part. But then you have these guys who exhibit or have these things, and they go overseas and they experience all that, trauma and PTSD, and then they come back and you put those two together, and it's like a time bomb. Um, so in a way, it's helpful to have someone in a case manager position that can kind of bridge the gap. If stuff comes up, I do talk to them about it. I'm a case manager, so really takes the therapy component out of it. We do some type of therapy just because we're working with them. But I haven't experienced in my work too many situations where of childhood trauma, but definitely like, trauma from being homeless or trauma from the things that led up to them being in my program.
Yeah.
And the other part that I do is for the better part of close to, I think, 12 years, I was homeless myself. And I ended up in the program that I worked as a resident. And I just took everything it was worth, and I did what I was supposed to and got out and started to kind of, navigate through life. And so that's what I really drive home to my residents is I don't care where you come or, the day you walk in the building, today you're a different person, and we're going to treat you like that. And that kind of modality has helped them really rally around. Now we can give them a housing voucher. We can help them with food. All the things that they struggled with before are taken care of, so that now they do have time to go to therapy and work on almost at the same time. So it's all in succession and kind of like stepping.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did case management work. I worked in a mental health agency in Cincinnati with children in the school systems, and it really is. You are that. I just think it's such a gift of that liaison role, and really, it's that building of a trust and that relationship, and then
Yeah.
obviously, if they need a referral for then therapy, that can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, beautiful.
It's been pretty eye-opening just to see some of these guys, like it says in the bio, that they come in and completely deteriorated. Every aspect of their life, at least to them, is like way lower than it has ever been. And just a simple like sitting in the office and talking to them, a lot of them experience a lot of one for being in the military and the time frame that they were in, another for maybe holding a sign on the side of a road like, oh, look at that guy, and like, but nobody knows their story. And so when they come to us and somebody is unbiased and just like, we're going to get you back to where you are, that's why I said that in the bio. Is so amazing to see that change when they go from not believing in themselves to, wow, I think I can handle this. And that's where we come in, and we just like take the reins right there and just drive them forward. And a lot of them just hold on, and they're like, oh, it's like the white knuckle kind of. But our success rate is huge, and it's just really awesome to put somebody who didn't have faith in themselves. Our program's 2 years. So through that 2 years, they rebuild their confidence, and then they get a job, and they hold the job for a while. And, obviously there's those cases that aren't like that, which are the ones that I like because I get a little harder. But yeah, the program in itself is amazing. I've seen it change a lot of lives. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, I love it. And again, I just, I don't know. I think I've said it for years is we honor one another's stories. If we just take the time to honor one another's stories, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Just honoring that story, what an impact that has on another human.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And I'm just one of those people where even if I don't understand you or you take it in 45 different directions, I'm going to listen to you till you're done. And then I'm going to try to put the pieces together, and we'll make a plan and we'll go for it. But just that one person that listens to them,
Yeah.
one person they come to with it's fixed, and they're like, wow, it really is in my corner. Somebody believes in me, and that's sometimes all I need. So I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up my my share screen here only because I wanted to swing back around again. So, talk to us a little bit about this book and how people can get a hold of it. I mean, obviously, I have it up on Amazon.
Yeah, so it's available on Amazon. It's right there called Boys Do Cry. It's compiled by Michelle Cadenac, who is in the UK, and she's just an absolutely amazing human. She put together. There's a female version of this book called Uncaged I think it's called Rise of the Badass, but woman is scratched out and it has badass in there instead.
Nice.
So it's just the same thing. It's just a female version, but I kind of was approached to do the book, and at that point, I had never put any of my story out there. I've never told anybody. I mean, close friends and stuff. But it gave me the opportunity to just continue what I had been doing, which was to, kind of check and balance, people, and this was just my way of being able to get the story out there. So it goes from pretty much when I was younger, and focuses more so on the instance that I chose to get sober, and a lot of that in there is I don't want to spoil too much of it for people that
Right.
will buy it, but
Buy it and find out, right?
yeah, a majority of the story is just about being kicked down all the time, through friends, through family, namely my dad. But yeah, like, just the story, and then towards the end of it is more of what I was doing at that point, which was working with intensive outpatient clients and stuff like that. So it was published in 2018. So I believe she is doing is it called a prologue, where we kind of update our story, and like the where are you now kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
She's prompted me to actually write a solo book, and we're in the beginning stages. I'm starting to write like a solo book myself. So all the way from the UK as well. So it's like it's awesome. I actually am in school right now, and I had the book on the corner of my desk, a short little time after it came out, and one of the kids walked through the class and he was like, "Oh man, I just picked that book up. How is it?" And I was like, "Are you serious?" and and I opened up to my page and I said, "Look at this," and he was like, "Whoa," so this is another instance of, like, you think, oh, it's just some book, people, but it was bestseller in a few weeks, and obviously people bought it. So that's really where this whole movement for me got serious, and where I started to do research and write and apply these things to my work. But yeah, the book built my website, which is just ShaunCoffey.com, SHAUN. But you can get the book there too. It'll take you right to the link. But it pushed me to make the website and to write speeches and to just literally, I like doing a lot of prevention work for children. So I'll do like high schools, colleges, some middle high school. I mean, we do have a middle high school in a town over that struggling with drugs in the school. I mean, then they're in 7th grade. So, but yeah, it's just opened up so many avenues, and I'm grateful for it. But at the same time, I'm still like, how's this happen? Like, to me, these things just happen to me, and I dealt with them, and I'm able to talk about them articulately. Or that didn't work. Articulate. I can't say it. But
We got what you meant.
yeah, but it gave me an outlet, and then all these questions come in now, like, hey, how did this happen? Or it said that at this point this happened. Like, how did you deal with that? And I'm able to just communicate with people through Instagram or other avenues where otherwise the book has been amazing. And I believe this book isn't the one that I'm doing now doesn't have a name, but it should be out in the end of October, I believe. So
Awesome.
I'm just pushing.
I'm writing a book manuscript, so I understand. I've been finishing it for 4 years, so I totally get the process.
Well, I started this project about 3 months after that book came out, so it's 1920, almost 3 years.
Right.
And it's one of those, like, do it or get off the pot kind of thing. So I just started putting the pen to the paper, and it's so healing. It's very. At first, that Boys Do Cry book, I relived a lot of that stuff, and all through tears. And there's even a spot in that book that says this, and it's just through all the tears and in the trials and every relived emotion. Like I got jacked up for a while, because I wasn't in therapy and I wasn't, able to process. And even that was healing for me. So,
Yeah.
and I'm able to share it with everybody now. I don't have any residents at my building that have read it, but in other positions, I have physical therapy. I'm in physical therapy for a hip, and I said something, and the next day I gave out like 3 or 4 books. So it's a conversation starter, and it always ends in positivity. So
Yeah. I've
that's
heard that
good.
before from so many of my podcast guests who've written books and said it's the best business card you can have because it starts conversations and opens doors and brings attention to not only your message but to you and
Yeah.
the work you're doing. So yeah. So you mentioned Instagram. How do people connect with you? How do they find you?
My Instagram is willows underscore runner, just for my ultra stuff. And the program that I used to work in was willows, but ironically, there's some kind of connection there for running as well. But so it's willows runner. My Facebook is the I'm working on building a Facebook profile for the business side right now. Because this is all new to me. So I just have that, and then in the website, but there's an info email. People, if they want to ask questions or they, anything like that, they can reach out through that info email, and I usually answer them within a couple.
Awesome. I have a friend who I actually had on this podcast when I first started the show back in 2017. I was interviewing friends and family about triumphs they had had in their life. It was just in its infancy. Um, and came on to talk about her marathon. She had done what is it, sub 24. She did a 20 or a 100-mile
Oh yeah, yeah,
marathon in under
100 mile
20.
endurance in
Yeah.
a sub 24, which is under 24 hours, which is
Yes, she did it in under 24 or something. And so it was
you can
so,
tell her that she's really good.
yeah, she's really good. And I just remember thinking, I can't even run for like 24 seconds. I can't even imagine running 24 hours. That's amazing to
throughout
me.
um throughout life, I've had this. I mean, I think addictive personality is a fallacy. I don't think that's an actual thing. But I do know that there's characteristics that you hold on to through addiction. So everything that I've done it 100 miles an hour, right away. So when I started to run, I didn't even like walking down the stairs to my car. Like I was like, oh, this stinks. Like, do this. And then I got into a trail and I was like, what's happening to me? I love this. So a lot of people are like, I'm going to run a 5K. And then, they go up. And I think after like my 17th mile, I was like, I'm going to run a 50-mile race. Like, that's just it. Like, I'm going to do it. And coincidentally, I hurt myself and I've been out of running for 2 years or so. I won't be back until March of 2022, but I do have that 50-mile in sight.
Oh, good.
After that, I have to stop running, but for the most part, that was like the one thing that I had left. So I said that even if my body has to take a hit, I'll finish that goal. I'm just my brain now to, something that I said I was going to do, and I have to do it. Before my surgery, I said if my leg falls off, then it falls off. And now after my surgery, I'm like, well, I want to keep it back on there.
Right. Right.
But yeah, you could tell her that's a feat and a half. I've watched a lot of professional runners, and the sub 24 is really awesome.
Yeah, I will. I'll pass it on to her. And she hits them often. She travels around to hit them. So it's just, I'm still blown away by it. So, well, and I send you healing wishes that you're able to get back out there and do it again. So, yeah, awesome. All right. So,
Thank you.
anything else that you wanted to touch upon before we close out?
No, I just hope that people who are kind of laying down in the shadows and not, speaking their truth or talking about things that they think are important should do a little bit of work there and find some confidence and talk about it, because the outcome can be something that is so the outcome can just be something that they least expect, and it can heal them. And just the power of being able to get that out of your system, out into the world, is great. So I
Yeah,
just invite people to, talk about things, and hug the people they love.
right. I know releasing my truths. Oh my gosh, when I finally set it free, it was
Yeah,
healing in and of itself. So yeah.
yeah. I thank you so much for having me, and yeah, it's been
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for shining your light of hope into the lives of others with the work you do in the world. So, yeah.
thank you as well.
All right. Everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for listening today to the Healing Place podcast with your host and trauma warrior, Teri Wellbrock. If you enjoyed this episode and want to learn more about Teri, her mission, and the Hope for Healing journey, visit Teri's website at www.teriwellbrock.com. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and offering your reviews on our YouTube channel, audio outlets, and Facebook page. And as Teri reminds us, until next time, remember, be gentle with yourself.